أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي زدني علما سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. My dear audiences, friends, brothers and sisters, those who are watching through Facebook, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a great pleasure for me to attend this Tafsirul Qur'an Mahfil, and for this reason at the very beginning, at the commencement of this Tafsirul Qur'an Mahfil, I would like to express my deep gratitude to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has given us opportunity to attend this Tafsirul Qur'an Mahfil, and let us express our gratitude and say Alhamdulillah, all praises are for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the greatest, who is only one. Inshallah, in today's Tafsirul Qur'an Mahfil, we shall have a discussion on verse number 1 to 5, Suratul Jinn. So as usual, at first we shall go to the recitation as well as meaning of these 5 verses, 5 ayats. Then inshallah we shall go to the elaborate discussion. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أوحي إلي أنه استمع نفر من الجن فقالوا إنا سمعنا قرآنا عجبا يهدي إلى الرشد فآمنا به ولن نشرك بربنا أحدا وأنه تعالى جد ربنا ما اتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا وأنه كان يقول سفيهنا على الله شططا وأنا ظننا أن لن تقول الإنس والجن على الله كذبا صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك. I seek refuge, I seek shelter to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the accursed devil, from the accursed shaitan, and I am beginning with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the most merciful, most beneficent. قُلْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ أَنَّهُ اسْتَمَعَ نَفَرٌ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَقَالُوا. O Prophet, tell the non-believers of Islam that a group of jinn have heard this Qur'an. فَقَالُوا, and then they said, Inna sami'na Qur'anan ajaba. Obviously, we have heard a recitation which is very wonderful, very strange. Yahdi ila rushdi fa'amanna bihi. And this recitation, this holy Qur'an, guide us to the right way. Fa'amanna bihi, and hence we have accepted Islam. وَلَن نُشْرِكَ بِرَبِّنَا أَحَدًا. And we do not make partner with our Prophet. We do not make anyone partner with our Prophet, with our only one Creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَنَّهُ تَعَالَى جَدُّ رَبِّنَا. And our Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the highest. مَتَّخَذَ صَاحِبَةً وَلَا وَلَدًا. Our Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only one, and He has not accepted any companion, any wife, and He does not have any son. وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ يَقُولُ سَفِيهُنَا عَلَى اللَّهِ شَطَطًا. And among us there are some foolish, there are some illiterate who are crossing the limit, who are making utterances beyond the limit. وَأَنَّا ظَنَنَّا أَن لَّن تَقُولَ الْإِنسُ وَالْجِنُّ عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذَبًا. And we cannot imagine that members of human being and members of jinn will attribute false allegation among the only one Creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said the truth, and His prophets and messengers have also said the truth, and we are among the witnesses. All praises are for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises are for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the greatest. So this was the recitation as well as meaning of verse number 1 to 5 of Suratul Jinn. Suratul Jinn is surah number 72 from the Holy Qur'an, and we shall find it in part number 29. Our beloved Prophet had total tenure of his prophethood 23 years. Among the 23 years of his prophethood, our beloved Prophet spent 13 years in Mecca and rest of the 10 years in Medina. This Suratul Jinn was revealed upon our beloved Prophet during his life, during his prophethood life in Mecca. And as we know, the members of Quraysh, the inhabitants of Mecca were rejecting the invitation of Tawheed, invitation of oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The members of Quraysh, the inhabitants of Mecca, had been worshipping idols and images since long, long ago. And when our beloved Prophet became Prophet, at the order of the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him through revelation to spread the teachings of Islam among the members of Quraysh. The main teaching of Islam the main lesson of Islam is oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is Tawheed. Ma Tawheedu, what is Tawheed? At-Tawheedu imanun bi ilahi wahid. Tawheed means bringing faith, bringing iman on only one creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Tawheed, oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the main teaching of Islam. At the prophethood of 10 years, 10th prophethood years of our beloved prophet in Mecca, while the members of Quraysh, while the inhabitants of Mecca were rejecting the invitation of Tawheed given by our beloved prophet, then our beloved prophet, with a hope in his heart, went to the Taif. Taif is a neighbor city very far from Mecca. Our beloved prophet thought that the inhabitants of Taif may accept the invitation of Tawheed. Our beloved prophet, along with one of his companions, Hazrat Zaid ibn Harisa radiallahu anhu, both of them went in Taif. They stayed in Taif for 10 days. And our beloved prophet met leaders of many tribes in Taif and invited all of them under the shelter of Tawheed, under the umbrella of Islam, under the oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But all the tribes in Taif rejected his invitation of Tawheed. And while they not only rejected the invitation of Tawheed given by our beloved prophet, but also they made physical torture, mental torture upon our beloved prophet. They engaged some naughty boys of Taif after our beloved prophet. They were uttering bad remarks, bad comments, and they were also throwing stones upon our beloved prophet. And our beloved prophet became very injured. And while he was returning from Taif, he stayed in a place named Nakhla. While he was staying in Nakhla, while he was offering prayer, he was reciting Qur'an in his prayer. At that time, a group of jinn means not visible. Being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that there are so many creatures in the world, and among the creatures, human being and jinn are also two creatures. And in Suratul Zariyat, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, I have created human being and jinn only for my worship and nothing else. That means we have been created by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only to worship for Him. And jinn, the nation of jinn, invisible nation, has also been created only to worship Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Verse number 56, Suratul Zariyat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has categorically stated, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have created jinn and human being, jinn and mankind, only for my worship and nothing else. That means jinn and human being have been created by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to worship. That means to accept the oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to spread the main teachings of Islam, oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all over the world. While, and this surah has been revealed upon our beloved Prophet in order to comfort him, in order to console our beloved Prophet by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. While the members of Quraysh, inhabitants of Makkah, rejected his invitation of Tawheed, at that time our only one Creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, consoled our beloved Prophet, saying that although the members of Quraysh have not accepted your invitation of Tawheed, but the nation of jinn, a group of jinn who heard your recitation from the Holy Qur'an and they have accepted Islam. Allahu Akbar. So, while our Prophet, our beloved Prophet was disappointed, disheartened from the behavior of the Quraysh and the inhabitants of Makkah in not accepting Islam, at that time Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this Suratul Jinn, stating that, "Oh my Prophet, don't be disappointed, don't be disheartened. Although the members of Makkah have not accepted your invitation of Tawheed, but your invitation of Tawheed has been accepted by another nation. They are called jinn." As we know, our beloved Prophet is not the Prophet of us, is not the Prophet of the only human being. Our beloved Prophet is the Prophet of the whole world. Our beloved Prophet Hazrat Muhammad has been sent as Prophet of the whole world. So, this surah is consoling our beloved Prophet, comforting our beloved Prophet, asking our beloved Prophet not to be disappointed, not to be disheartened. Because your invitation of Tawheed, your invitation of oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been accepted by another nation, and that is the nation of jinn. Jinn means not visible, invisible. Here, in verse number 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, "Qul uhiya ilayya annahu istama nafarum minal jinn." O Prophet, tell that a group of jinn have heard recitation of Holy Quran. Faqalu, then they said, "Inna sami'na Qur'anan ajaba." We have heard a strange recitation, a wonderful recitation. And while our beloved Prophet our beloved Prophet did not know that his recitation is being heard by the members of jinn. Subsequently, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed our beloved Prophet. And when in Tafsir it has come that the number of members of jinn are either 7 or 9. 9 members of jinn or 7 members of jinn, a team, while they were traveling the world in order to collect news and in order to deliver the news to their head of their nation, they found our beloved Prophet reciting from the Holy Quran, and they stopped there silently and heard the recitation of our beloved Prophet, and they are saying to their nation, "Yahdi ila rushdi fa'amanna bih." This Holy Quran guides people to the right way. فَآمَنَّ بِهِ, and hence we have accepted Islam. Allahu Akbar. And as we know, the main theme, main substance, main lesson, main teachings of Islam is oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are saying the same thing. وَلَن نُشْرِكَ بِرَبِّنَا أَحَدًا. There is no partner of our beloved, of our only one Creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our Creator is only one, and He does not have any partner. وَأَنَّهُ تَعَالَى جَدُّ رَبِّنَا, and our Creator is the greatest. مَتَّخَذَ صَاحِبَةً وَلَا وَلَدًا. He has not accepted any companion, any wife, and He has not accepted any son. So, the oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also been given in these verses. Now inshallah we shall go to verse number 29 to 31 from Suratul Ahqaf. Verse number 29 to 31, Suratul Ahqaf is also saying the similar event, similar incident. In verse number 29, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَإِذْ صَرَفْنَا إِلَيْكَ نَفَرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ, and I have turned a group of jinn towards you. يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقُرْآنَ, when they heard the Qur'an, I turned them to you, towards you. فَلَمَّا حَضَرُوهُ, and when they returned to their leaders, to their nation, قَالُوا, they said, أَنْسِتُ, when they heard reciting our beloved Prophet from the Holy Quran, they said to each other, stop, keep silent. قَالُوا أَنْسِتُ, they said each other, stop, keep silence. فَلَمَّا قُضِيَ وَاللَّهُ إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِمْ مُنْذِرِينَ, and when our beloved Prophet complete his recitation, when recitation of our beloved Prophet was completed, they returned to their nation as to warn them. And now what they are saying to their leader of the jinn. قَالُوا يَا قَوْمَنَا, they said, oh my nation, إِنَّا سَمِعْنَا كِتَابًا أُنزِلَ مِن بَعْدِ مُوسَى مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ وَإِلَى طَرِيقٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. When they returned to their nation, they said to their nation that we have heard from a book that was revealed after book was revealed to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and this book is confirming the Torah, and this book Yadayhi Yahdi ilal Haq, and this book, this Holy Quran, guides people towards the right way. Ila tariqim mustaqim, to the right path, Suratul Mustaqim, to the absolute right path. That means when the members of jinn who heard the recitation from our beloved Prophet, and when our beloved Prophet completed his recitation, they returned to their nation, and they returned to their nation as a warner, to warn them. They said to their nation, this is the book, this is the Holy Quran, and this has been revealed after Torah, and this is also confirming the Torah and other books that were revealed from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the characteristics of this book is that the Holy Quran guide people to the right way, to the absolute way. Ya qawmana ajibu da'iyallahu wa aminu bihi. And they told them, O my nation, you accept the invitation from him who is inviting us, and accept Bring faith on Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you bring faith, يَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ مِنْ ذُنُوبِكُمْ. If you accept Islam, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive your all sins. وَيُزِرْكُمْ يَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبِكُمْ وَيُزِرْكُمْ مِنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. And He will save you from the serious punishment, from the grievous punishment. That means the members of jinn who heard the recitation from our beloved Prophet, they understood Qur'an, and they understood that if anyone accepts Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive his all sins. And after forgiving his all sin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save him from the grievous punishment of the hell. So, by revealing the surah, these verses, our only one Creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is consoling, comforting our beloved Prophet, not to be disappointed, not to be disheartened. Because although the members of Quraysh, the inhabitants of Makkah have not accepted Islam, but another nation, jinn, has accepted Islam. That means by revealing these verses, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described some characteristics of the last testimony, the Holy Qur'an. Now inshallah we shall go to some other relevant verses. Those are relevant in today's tafsir. Since in today's tafsir we are discussing regarding Holy Qur'an, the first relevant verse, two verses, is verse number 1 and 2 from Suratul Baqarah. These two verses are relevant in today's tafsir. Here Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Alif Lam Mim, Dhalikal Kitabu la rayba fihi, Hudan lil Muttaqin. Alif Lam Mim. Dhalikal Kitab, this is the book, la rayba fihi. This is the book which does not have any doubt. Hudan lil Muttaqin. And this holy book, this Holy Qur'an, is the guide for the pious people, for the people who believe on oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 257 to Suratul Baqarah. Here Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Allahu waliyul lazina amanu yukrizuhum minaz zulumati ilan nur. Here Quran has been defined, the Holy Quran has been termed as Nur. Nur means light. Allahu waliyul lazina amanu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the guardian of the believers. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? What does this Holy Quran do? Yukrizuhum minaz zulumati ilan nur. By revealing the Holy Quran, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings the believers from the darkness and takes them to the light. That means whoever will follow the Holy Quran, he will be brought out from the darkness and he will be taken in light. So until and unless we follow the Holy Quran, we cannot come out from darkness and we cannot go to the light. So in order to come out from the darkness and to go towards the light, we shall have to follow the Holy Quran. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 85 from Suratul Ali Imran. In verse number 85, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَمَن يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَن يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ وَمَن يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَن يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Whoever will seek any religion other than Islam, that religion will not be accepted by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he will be among the losers. وَمَن يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَن يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. That means, if a Christian, if a Jew, if a Hindu, if a Buddhist, if a Qadiani, or a member of any other religion other than Islam does not accept Islam before his death, he must be thrown on the hellfire. So this was verse number 85 from Suratul Al-Imran. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 138, Suratul Al-Imran. In verse number 138, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, in verse number 138, Suratul Al-Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving the definition of Qur'an. What is the Holy Qur'an? هذا بيان للناس وهدى وموعظة للمتقين. The definition of Holy Quran has been given by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the Holy Quran? The Holy Quran is the bayanul linnas. The Holy Quran is the elaborate explanation of mankind. Wa hudan, and guide. Wa maw'iza, and the Holy Quran is the advices for the muttaqi, for the pious people, for the believers of Islam. That means the Holy Quran shows us the right path. How shall we lead our personal life? How shall we lead our family life, social life, as well as state life? Everything has been narrated in the Holy Quran. So being a Muslim, we shall have to learn to recite Quran properly, and we shall have to learn meaning and explanation of Holy Quran, so that we may apply the rules and regulations of Holy Quran in our personal life, family life, social life, as well as in our state life, as per our capability. So this was verse number 138 from Suratul Al-Imran, relevant in today's tafsir. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 174 from Suratul Nisa. In verse number 174, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ya ayyuhan nasu qad ja'akum burhanum min rabbikum wa anzalna ilaykum nuram mubina. O people of the world, obviously a strong testimony, strong evidence have been sent to you by your Creator, and it gives you the proper light. Nuram mubina. The Holy Quran is the absolute light. Since a light shows us path, way in the darkness, like the light, the Holy Quran shows people the right way to lead our life. And in verse number 174 Suratul Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has termed the Holy Quran a Nuram Mubina, a Burhanum. Burhan means strong evidence, strong testimony. So this was verse number 174 from Suratul Nisa, relevant in today's tafsir. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 9 from Suratul Hijr. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. The Holy Quran. This is the last testimony from our only one Creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in verse number 9, Suratul Hijr, Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. I have revealed this Quran and I am the protector of this Holy Quran. As you know that the Bible, the Torah, the Jabur, all the revelation other than Holy Quran have been manipulated, have been changed, deleted. But the Holy Quran is the only one testimony, only one revelation from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which there is no change, there is no delay. This was revealed about 1500 years ago, and it is as like as it was 1500 years ago. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised in verse number 9, Suratul Hijr, Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. I have revealed the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I have revealed the Quran, Holy Quran, and I am the protector of this Holy Quran. So, this Holy Quran is still unchanged for the last 1500 years ago. And there will be no change till the last day of judgment. Because it has been revealed by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself is the protector of this holy book. So being a Muslim, being a believers of Islam, we must feel proud. We must be proud. We must feel pride that we are following the book that has been revealed by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the book which has not been changed by anyone for the last 1500 years ago, and in the subsequent time no one can be able to change the Holy Quran, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself is the protector. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself has revealed this holy book, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself is the protector of the Holy Quran. So we the members of Muslim, we the members of Islam, we the believers of Islam should feel pride to be a believer of Islam. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 81 and 82 from Suratul Bani Israel. Suratul Bani Israel, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلُ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. The Holy Quran is the only book, and this in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has termed the Holy Quran as the book of Haqq, the right book. Since Holy Quran has been revealed, it is mandatory, it is obligatory to each and every human being as well as jinn to follow the Holy Quran. If anyone say, I am following the Torah, I am following the Injil, he is not permitted. Since Holy Quran has been revealed, all the revelation has been banned. This is the first explanation of this verse. Second explanation of this verse is that since by revealing the Holy Quran, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked the human being and jinn to come under the shelter of Islam, under the shelter of oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is mandatory, it is obligatory to each and every people of the world and each and every jinn to accept the invitation of Tawheed. And hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in verse number 81, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. Worshipping idols and images have been banned, have been prohibited by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as soon as Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent our beloved Prophet as the Prophet for the whole human being, for whole creatures. So, oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Tawheed is the main teachings of Islam. And the main substance of the Holy Quran is Tawheed. Through the whole Quran, we shall find about Tawheed, Tawheed and Tawheed. Oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, making partner, considering partner, joining partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most heinous offense. And if anyone make this offense, he will not be forgiven. He will be thrown in the hellfire. As Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in verse number 48, Suratul Nisa. Here Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَمَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدِ افْتَرَى إِثْمًا عَظِيمًا. Verse number 48. Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has categorically stated, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive the sin in which partners have been made with him. That means if a Christian dies without accepting Islam, he will be thrown in the hellfire as soon as he will die. If a Jew, if a member of Hindu, if a Buddhist, if a members of Qadiani, or if anyone member of any other religion other than Islam will die without accepting Islam, as soon as he will die, he will be thrown in the hellfire. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has categorically declared in the Holy Quran, in verse number 48, Suratul Nisa, that a person who will make partner with him, he will not be forgiven. So, through this Tafsirul Quran Mahfil, I would like to invite all the human beings who have not yet accepted Islam, please come under the shelter of Tawheed, under the shelter of oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember, if you dies without accepting Islam, there is no chance in the life of hereafter to enter in the heaven. The precondition to enter in the heaven in the life of hereafter is to accept Tawheed, to accept oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, through this Tafsirul Quran Mahfil, I would like to invite all the human beings as well as members of jinn to come under the shelter of oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to come under the umbrella of Islam. Now inshallah we shall go with some relevant hadiths. Those are relevant in today's tafsir. Since in today's tafsir we are discussing regarding Holy Quran. And Ibn Abbasin radhiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam innal ladhi laysa fi jawfihi shay'un min al-Qur'an kal baytil kharib, rawahu Tirmizi. This hadith has been narrated by Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu anhu, the famous companion of our beloved Prophet. He said that our beloved Prophet has said, in whose heart there is no Holy Quran, it is as like as an abandoned house. In an abandoned house, no one want to enter. So, the people in whose heart there is no Quran, his heart has been compared with an abandoned house. Rawahu Tirmizi. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is, next relevant hadith in today's tafsir is, An Umar ibn al-Khattab radhiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Inna Allah yarfa'u bihadha al-kitabi aqwaman wa yada'u bihi akharin, rawahu Muslim. This hadith has been narrated by second Khalifa, Hazrat Umar radhiyallahu anhu. He said that our beloved Prophet has said, obviously, this Quran will honor many people in the life of hereafter, and this Quran will humiliate many people. Those people who will follow the Holy Quran, they will be honored by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the life of hereafter. And those people who do not follow Quran, they will be humiliated. They will face difficulties in the life of hereafter. Rawahu Muslim. Next relevant hadith in today's tafsir is, An Usman radhiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, khayrukum man ta'allama al-Qur'ana wa 'allama, rawahu Bukhari. This hadith has been narrated by Hazrat third Khalifa, Hazrat Usman radhiyallahu anhu. He said that among you, he is the best. Those are the best who learns the Holy Quran, who learn Quran and teach Quran. That means learning Holy Quran and teaching Holy Quran is the best job in the world. Rawahu Bukhari. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is, An Ibn Mas'ud radhiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli Muslim, rawahu Ibn Majah. This hadith has been narrated by Ibn Mas'ud radhiyallahu anhu. He said that our beloved Prophet has said, earning knowledge of Holy Quran is mandatory, obligatory to each and every Muslim, either male or female. Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli Muslim. So, learning Holy Quran is mandatory, obligatory to each and every Muslim. So, being a Muslim, it is obligatory to us, it is mandatory to us to learn how to recite Holy Quran properly. And after learning recitation, we shall have to follow the rules and regulations of Holy Quran. Now, inshallah, we shall have prayer to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before offering prayer, let us recite durood. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma amin. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب هب لي من الصالحين. رب زدني علما. أستغفر الله Allahumma inni as'aluka al-huda wat-tuqa wal-afafa wal-ghina. Oh Allah, we some of your members, some of your servants have been gathered in this Tafsirul Mahfil, and we have discussed from your holy book, from the hadith. We have made many mistakes. Please forgive our all mistakes and accept this Tafsirul Mahfil. Oh Allah, please forgive our all sins. Oh Allah, increase our sustenance. Oh Allah, you know what is in our heart. Forgive our all good desires. Oh Allah, please save the Muslims of Palestine, save the Muslims of Afghanistan, save the Muslims of the whole world. Oh Allah, defeat the Bani Israel. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.